Carlos Ruiz Zafón said, "Some like to believe it's the book that chooses the person." And in this case, the book has chosen an author. Presenting to you today someone who's sweet and crisp like a Gudki Gajak from Gurgaon. Welcome Rupal Mohta on Sip and Talk with Vikram.
Thank you so much, Vikram, for having me on the show, for inviting me to this beautiful platform that you have created. Being a three-time bestseller author, I think you've been there, done that. And your platform, as you said, I would like to add, is crisp. And the one point which I feel binds everybody together in this platform is the space you give your invitees to talk. So I think that is beautiful, and all of this over a cup of coffee. So cheers to Sip and Talk with Vikram.
So Rupal is a company secretary, she's a homemaker, and she's lot many things besides being an author. She has recently published a book called Indian Side Up. Let me show you the book, viewers, so that we get a fair idea about what it looks like. Indian Side Up, typically presented with a bowl full of snacks and hot chai. And this book is sold on Amazon. And let me show you where you can find it, viewers. Here it is on Amazon. Indian Side Up. So Rupal, what is this Indian side? I mean, I went through your book and I found that it is based out in the cloud-bearing tea estates of Munnar, belonging to some Iyer family. And there is a holiday get-together where children are visiting grandparents, and it's a perfect setup for stories. So, what are the stories that you are telling through this book?
Mm, Before I begin to talk about my book itself, I think I'd like to talk a little about myself. As you introduced me correctly, I'm a company secretary. I'm also a university rank holder. And so academia has always been a part and parcel of me and my living. So, in addition to pursuing a corporate career, I have always been interested and have had a flair for writing. I come from a family of authors. My grandfather and uncle, they have been authors in their own right, in addition to teaching English literature.
Oh,
My
wow.
father has also authored two books, and he has been an editor with a journal which he has edited consistently for a period of 10 plus years. So, in a way, I can say, लिखना तो खून में है.
Very rightly said.
Yes.
So, you've also been writing on different platforms beside this book.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And I have tried to write across different mediums. You know, I have dabbed at writing poetry, both in Hindi and English. I have also written across several platforms, articles on parenting and early childhood. And as a book, this is my debut attempt. Uh, and I'm a proud Indian at that. So I thought, what better topic than India to write my debut book on? And that's why Indian Side Up, which is a fascinating tale for children. It is an illustrated chapter book which is spread across 20 different chapters. And it is the story of Iyer family who are based in the picturesque hill town of Munnar, which is in the southern part of the country. Interestingly, I myself have grown up in the vicinity of tea gardens because my father was working with the tea company. So I have seen the setting at close quarters, so which has been an integral part of my childhood. So I have based the story of a fictional family which lives in the hills. The grandchildren who are visiting their grandparents from out of India have come to India and then they embark upon a fun, adventurous ride together with their grandparents, where they discover India in a way which is intriguing, exciting, entertaining, and educating. So I think that's the gist of my book.
So, Rupal, your book is quite illustrated. There is an illustration, colorful illustration on almost every page, every other page. So, is it because it is a children's fiction book, or are you fond of illustrations, or what is the genesis of this book?
Let's go to the fact that every child loves stories. We are all fond of stories. And to the extent that even the corporate world has taken on the strategy of storytelling when it comes to giving their corporate trainings.
Interesting.
So, when I had my own children, I realized that stories have to be an integral part of their growing up years. And to bring that into their lives, I bought a lot of books for children, I invested in those, and I continued to read out to them every night in between meals and at every other opportunity which I could get. And this drew me to the world of children's fictional writing. The entire aspect of conjuring up a story in your head, then bringing the characters to life, giving them dialogues, and something which appeals to the children, which educates, which entertains also at the same time. I think all of this put together drew me to the world of children's fiction. And children's fiction is always incomplete without intriguing and beautiful illustrations. I think immediately a child is also able to imagine a character once there are illustrations. So that's why I think that Indian Side Up, it was very important for the book also to carry illustrations. So I have close to 32 illustrations in this chapter book, which is spread across the 20 chapters. So nearly every chapter has 1+ illustration, and every single character is clearly defined, so the children can better connect to the story and the characters. So I think that's
And
what.
the backdrop is the lovely hill stations of Munnar, and you are up there in Gurgaon. So
Yes.
how do you connect them?
See, the amalgam of me living up north and setting up of the story down south, I'll have to go back to my childhood years. I did all of my schooling and my studying years up to my graduation down south, in the beautiful city of Coimbatore. And my dad, as I mentioned earlier, he was also working with a tea factory. So that's how we grew up very close around to nature. You know, Uti was like a stone's throw away from the place where I lived, and we used to travel quite a lot. So I think the backdrop of nature has always been very exciting. And when it comes to storytelling, it provides for a very beautiful setting as well. When you have nature on the backdrop of any story, you can describe the story well with nature as a backdrop. So I think that way it was very easy for me to write and to base my story in a hill town. And since I grew up there, I knew a lot about the Tamil culture, though I'm a Marwadi myself. So I think that's how the amalgam came through.
Lovely. And these fusions are something which brings out the real Indian side out, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think our diversity actually binds us together, isn't it? It
True,
really
true.
makes us what we are. It gives us a global appeal, and we are multicultural people in the true sense of the word.
So, Rupal, there are so many children's books. The market is flooded with them. Then why this book?
Okay. Now there's another one small incident. I think you'll call me like this lady with a bag of stories.
No, you
But
are a
when
storyteller. Yeah, yeah. I
yes,
love your
yes,
stories.
yes. Thank you so much. So, what exactly happened was this was sometime last year during Diwali. We had a couple of friends over. This was 1-2 days after Diwali. And as adults, we were chit-chatting, eating, and suddenly all the children joined us in the living room, and then there was this barrage of questions that followed, So they were like, Mom, why is a rangoli made? Then someone else asked me, why are diyas lit up? Then there was another child who were asking me questions about what is an aarti, what is a tikka. So all of us as adults, we were a little taken aback at that particular moment. We weren't really expecting such profound questions coming from the younger lot. We didn't want to sound ignorant as well. So what we did was, whatever came to the top of our mind, we just answered. And then we said, we have to cut through this. Your play date is kind of getting affected. Go back to your playing. But I think that got the ball rolling. It got me thinking, and it got me searching on the net as well, that what is it about India and her culture, and why is it so important today that children who are belonging to this generation should be made aware of India and her culture. And when it comes to the millennials, it's very, very difficult to hold their attention beyond a particular point of time. This so-called generation with videos and images, it's very, very difficult to hold their attention unless you give them a logical why to everything that's being done. So I think questioning is a great way of learning. And that's exactly what the book is trying to do, So that's how I sat down. I wrote the book, and I didn't want it to be a boring saga. I wanted it to be a fun, interesting read where the children can take back something, and where they can question what is it that they are doing, why is it being done, and then eventually take pride in being Indians, wherever they may be in any part of the world, be it in India, out of India, to the NRI parent, and to anyone else in the globe. And if there's anyone beyond an Indian who wants to understand India, I think the book serves as an ideal prism, to understand India, and all of this through a story. So that was the basic premise.
I have also noticed one peculiar thing about your book, that on every chapter there are some dialogue boxes which, in a very crisp nutshell, explains certain traditions of India, about India. So it's like bullet points coming across. So is it for the children alone, or is it for whom? I mean, who should be reading this?
See, I think whenever you open a newspaper or any lengthy article, what we generally try to do, there'll be that little paragraph there which contains the bullet points, which is in bold, and which is going to give you the crux of the entire article, So that's exactly what I've tried to achieve here, that each chapter in the book is talking about a particular practice. So through those little dialogue boxes, as I would like to call them, or I'm trying to convey the information, in a nutshell. And you will not believe there have been parents who have got back to me and who've told me that really, Rupal, even we did not know that this is why this is being done.
Now, it brings me to a question, Rupal. So many times rituals are performed and traditions are followed blindly without understanding the context. So, can you just elaborate a little bit on this practice?
I will do that. If it's okay, can I read a small paragraph from the book
itself? Yeah, sure. We love to hear.
Right.
I mean, what is more rewarding than hearing a paragraph from the author?
Thank you so much. So this is the book, and in India, it comes with this beautiful bookmark.
Oh, wow, lovely.
Which is also an additional activity for the children. So I'll just read out a small paragraph from here, which says, the Sanskrit word namaste stands for nama, meaning bow, and te, meaning you. So the word literally means I bow to you. This gesture is also known as Anjali Mudra. So the act of performing namaskar, for example, is a very commonplace action, right? And especially now, everybody has moved on from a handshake to what we call a namaskar, And not just Indians, even people globally, even the foreigners, are trying to take on to this practice. So, what I've tried to achieve with the book is that these little commonplace practices, I've tried to define them and to make the youngsters understand and be aware of these practices. So, I think that's what I've tried to achieve.
And Rupal, also, we are all into parenting at one point of time in our life. And particularly what I see nowadays with children is, I mean, when I was a kid, I remember I have not seen a television at home. And my only refuge was to go out and play. And now I find children hooked on to cartoon channels all the time, and they are nowhere close to books. So
True.
there is a sudden shift of from one generation to the other. There is a sudden shift in entertainment values or leisure values for children. So what can parents do about this?
Uh, there is this beautiful quote by Toni Morrison. Okay, she is American author, and she says, "If there's a book you want to read, and if it hasn't been written, then you must write it." So I think what is important is screens, of course, are going to entice the kids. They are born with it. That's something which they see the first time they open their eyes in this world. Which was not there with us when we were younger. So obviously we are just not just attracted as much as the younger lot is. But as parents, it is our responsibility that we give them a world beyond screen. So we will have to introduce something which is equally exciting, and I think books is a beautiful medium to do that. They also say that you can look at the entire world through a book without even moving an inch. So, and the imagination power of a child is going to grow vastly when they are going to read a book. So you can't just give a book in a child's hand and say, "Go ahead, read it." You will have to give your time. You will have to sit down with them. You would have to make reading a habit in the initial years. And then you would realize that once that little seed is sown in your child, that is definitely going to blossom into a beautiful reader one day. And those benefits you will reap as they grow older. No, not just you as a parent, the child himself or herself is also going to reap that benefit. So I think it's very important to give them what they want to read, so give them an interesting read. I think that's vital as parents.
So I would like to tell something about myself. With my family and my children, I used to have this family time, every evening. So either we will play a board game, or we will tell a story, or maybe even read a story. So
Right.
what is the virtue of bedtime storytelling or reading a book together? How does it help, and what is your advice to young parents on that?
I think it's a very, very beautiful practice. If you can make it a part of your busy life and busy routine, nothing like it. Don't really bother about the amount of time that you're going to spend at reading a book, even if it is going to be a 10-minute routine, but try to make place for it. I think that's very important because as you read, your power of imagination grows. There can be so many beautiful stories from your own childhood which you can introduce to your children. So they learn about an era that is gone by, and as you read to them, or they read out to you, their reading abilities are growing, which I think in their initial growing up years is again very important. So arm them with a book in their hand. I think that is going to take them places. It's really going to add a beauty to their character, to their language, not just spoken but also written. It's going to make them more articulate. They can express themselves better, and they can communicate much better if they are going to be good readers. So I think that's very vital.
So, viewers, I hope you are thoroughly enjoying this conversation with a wonderful storyteller. And while we allow her to take a sip of hot coffee, I would like to make an appeal to the viewers to please subscribe, like, and share this channel. And also, please type in your key takeaways from this interaction today. And coming back to Rupal Mota, Rupal, uh, also tell us that how the things are evolving nowadays. The books are, taken over by e-books, and even the curriculum is so much of internet based. And now
Hmm.
there are, online classrooms going on.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
gradually, the circumstances are taking away the paper book out of the hands of the children.
Hmm. Hmm. I think that fear is always there now with the ebook world, which is taken over. Everyone buys strong. There are devices like the Kindle and the iPad, and of course, there is the desktop and the laptop. For a child, I think they are spoiled for choice. So there are these multiple devices, and every able home has a couple of them. So if not one, you can always go to the other. There may be two plus televisions in every single house. So for a child, they are spoiled for choice. But I think as a parent, it is very important that you try and keep some tabs, on their device usage, and try and encourage them to read through a paperback, preferably if they can. But if not, then I think even an electronic medium is good enough, so long as they can actually go about reading. So I think we should not forget the matter, the central matter is that the child should read. Try to give them a book in hand. If they can do it, good enough. If not, I think even a book on Kindle is the same. So it should be okay.
Who are your favorite authors, Anshul?
See, when it comes to children's writing, I think writers like Sudha Murthy and also Ruskin Bond have been
Oh
inspirational.
yeah, Ruskin
Uh,
Bond has written so many interesting stories, and I've grown up
absolutely.
reading them.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what I understand, they can actually create a mole out of a mountain, as they
I
say.
know, I know.
They can just pick up a straw and create a story around it.
It is
Uh,
totally like Panchatantra, animals talking and interacting with humans, and very
very
interesting way
true.
of.
Very true. And such beautiful and simple story writing, which is the real India, which is being reflected in their stories. So I think their writing really appeals to me. And there is this author called Julia Donaldson who writes in rhyme and rhythm. So I think her books have really also struck a chord with me. When it comes to reading her books, they really excite me. Then there is Rabindranath Tagore, who
Oh
is
yeah.
a master stroke in himself. I don't think one has to say anything about him and his work and the twist that comes with every story that he writes. And I'm an eternal fan of Sherlock Holmes and his mysteries, which are always very intriguing. Uh,
Oh, we
so,
share one more intrigue together. Sherlock Holmes is my favorite too.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think many summers have gone by reading Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
He is a master storyteller, of course. And there is also the Chicken Soup series, Chicken Soup
Mm,
for the
yeah.
Soul. So I think that entire series and that entire collection is again very beautiful, where it talks about the human spirit and how it can actually conquer every odd. So I think that's again a very intriguing and a
Very
beautiful
intriguing.
series. Yes.
I think those were the first few series of books in non-fiction that I was exposed to.
True, true, true. And to this date, I think they hold place.
Yes, that's right.
They are a beautiful read. Yes.
What are your other hobbies, Rupal, apart from books, apart from stories?
Apart from books and stories, I think gardening
Mm.
takes a central place. I have close to 70 plus plants in my apartment.
Oh my God, yeah,
And
that's a lot.
yes, yes, that's a lot. That's a lot. So, all variety of flora, fauna. Sometimes I dabble at trying to grow an odd tomato, which I haven't really succeeded at. But yes, so gardening, I think, is something which I'm very fond of. I try to sing a little. So these are two hobbies.
That's a complete personality of an author, a mother, a gardener, a singer, and a company secretary.
Thank you
Awesome.
so much. You've been very kind. Thank you so much.
So I'm so blessed to have you on this show, Rupal. Pleasure to host you here. And
Likewise,
thank you
likewise.
very much and namaste.
Thank you so much. It has been an absolute pleasure to be on the show, to share a cup of coffee with you. And thank you so much for inviting me. It's been wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.